First time on the roof.
Loving it. Grass at the 11th floor. Pretty cool.
Pretty beautiful. Reflecting on what we're thankful for in this time of year and thinking about the conversations we've been having on everything from politics to the self to the spirit, what do you see as important to focus on to make for a meaningful Thanksgiving?
Yeah, what I want to talk to you about today, which I'll start with instead of ending with, which is the notion that we are under such pressure as a country, as the world at large, that this instinct to be focused on your own well-being and your own survival and your own self-aggrandizement is so costly. And you know, I think back to when Tom Wolfe wrote about the me decade in the 70s. Well, we're in the me decade times 1,000 right now.
You know, the shortest poem in the English language is by Muhammad Ali.
I didn't know that.
Do you know it?
I don't.
Me, we.
Yeah.
Which fits with what you're talking about. Do many people focus too much on measuring money and then feeling inadequate because of that?
Well, clearly and unequivocally, and for centuries at this point, we confuse external value, money, but not just money, fame, power, influence, celebrity, with internal value. And when your internal value feels threatened, you're more inclined to look for external ways to fill that inner feeling of emptiness.
You know, Tony, if you were, in fashion terms, one of the presidential candidates, I think you would be Biden, just because of the way the suits are. But in spiritual terms, I think you would be Marianne, because of the way you're focused on energy.
Well, I'm not sure I'm cool with either of those particular extremes in this particular race.
Well, those are your only two choices.
I see that. I will say this, I'm never going to dress the same again.
A lot of people say, well, okay, don't glorify money, but if I had a lot more money, everything would be better. And the poorer you are, the more true that's going to be, because you're going to get above subsistence. But past a line, and the data tells us the line is lower than many people think, it doesn't statistically make people happier.
You know, there's a woman named Sue Bloland who's the daughter, famously, of Erik Erikson, the famous psychologist. And she has written about the notion that, and this is a kind of a radical notion, but it feels true to me, that any person who is seeking an outsized amount of fame or power or attention is filling some level of inner deficit. Now listen, I have spent a lot of years of my life seeking one or another of those, and I know that that feeling is true.
Yeah, and if you need to be on TV every night, like with your own show, it's some kind of spiritual black hole.
Well, we're complex beings. No, I feel that we are in a spiritual crisis. So if you want to throw me into Marianne Williamson's camp in that respect,
well, as Mr. T would say, you did that to yourself.
Yes, indeed.
You talk about energy as much as her.
I do. I talk about energy in very concrete terms, though. Really, the whole idea, the whole challenge of a human being around how effective and satisfied they can be in the world is a function of how they feel.
You're suggesting that in people's health, emotional, mental, energy, they're walking around broken.
Absolutely. It's a very good description of it that you just gave. The idea is there's four kinds of energy. There's physical energy. Everybody knows what that is. You get that from sleep and working out and resting and eating the right foods. There's emotional energy, which is how you feel, because you only feel one way when you're at your best. It's the way you feel at your best, meaning the things that come to your mind: excited, engaged, energized, positive. And then mental energy is really just the ability to hold your attention in one place, to control your attention, because that's under such siege. And when you can focus in an absorbed way, you're immensely more productive. And then finally, spiritual, which is the energy you derive from the sense that what you do really matters, that it serves something, to go back to where we started, larger than yourself.
The last question is about how we measure. The famous management theorist Peter Drucker said, "What's measured improves."
Ever since the Enlightenment, we have overvalued science at the expense of humanity. If you can see it, if you can measure it, then it's real. If you can't measure it in these quantitative terms, then let's not pay any attention to it. But all the stuff that really matters is the unmeasurable quantitatively.
Tony Schwartz, always broadening our mind, and for the first time on the roof, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having this.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.